back, it's Christine again with the Artist Pod, and today we're going to talk about how to draw a Shetland pony. So, let's get arting. Alright, here is the Shetland pony. They're pretty cute. We're just going to get started. Now they have kind of a bulge by their noses. You know, we have the nostril here. So we'll see how that looks once we add shadows and highlights to it. There'll be some shadowing under the nostril and kind of around, as the bulge would also cast some shadowing. So yeah. Their hair is also a bit shaggy, so I'm probably gonna give him some shag around his face. And by that I don't mean his mane. I mean, like, you know, his actual fur is a little shaggy. At least some Shetland ponies, their fur is shaggy. That does seem to vary, but we're gonna make him a little shaggier. Changing direction can help indicate a different space, right? Like you have the nose that's coming forward, and then the face that, you know, would have a gap between. So having a change in fur direction in these line directions can actually really help sort of indicate that to us. Even though the shadows and the highlights will help too, this can help indicate it too. And then slowly angling it back up as the nose would be meeting into the face. Now the mane, as you can see, will be dipping down in here, but we're still going to fill in because you have almost a few stray spots coming down. So we're still going to fill that in and the edge, over the edge. So, you know, as the mane comes down, we want to make sure that there's no awkward transition where there's a gap in where the color would be. That was a little overzealous. Now his hair is shaggier. I probably could make the strokes longer. Because his hair is shaggier, it likely is, but we're going to keep it short. It can still be shaggy and short. And then you have the mane, of course. That'll be nice long strokes because, you know, the mane is longer. The hair's longer. Alright, now with the mane, you know, as I kind of already mentioned, you know, you can do longer strokes, right? I actually really do like doing longer hair like this, particularly horses' manes. I just don't often draw horses. Lions' manes are very similar. You know, you can make these really nice long strokes, and these strokes are coming over the eye as you bring them down. It's very much how you would do, right, long human hair, right? You'd have these long sort of strokes. Anytime you do fur, really, it's the same idea as hair. You're just, you know, making a stroke as long as the hair is, and then building it up. I'm actually going to have the light source, I know I always do it, coming from over here. Like always, that means above and in front of, not behind or next to. The mane will be casting a bit of a shadow on the face. So as we get to that, we'll be, you know, shadowing some of these edges in. And then keeping in mind, you know, the nose connects back to the face, right? All edges are in shadow, even on the side of the light source. And the hair's blocking a good bit of his face. We'll see how that goes. So right, the edge here will be in shadow because until it connects back to the face, it's an edge that's rounding away. on his nose here. However, the face won't have a shadow there because it's not rounding away. That'll help indicate that you have a curved section. And of course, you know, over here we have that edge, and then as it comes underneath, it'll also be in shadow. I'm going to do the chin all in shadow, but inevitably there is going to be some highlight. Just like always when I do this, right, it's just easier to control exactly where the highlights and shadows are, especially when you're dealing with a smaller space. Don't have as much room to make a mistake. But a highlight kicking in just a little bit, you know, because it's going to go into shadow under here, and then the highlight will stick through the midpoint of the mouth over before it fades out. So we're just gonna brighten this up a little bit. There we go. Got a nice start here. I'm gonna pull the highlight of the nose over a little bit more. Right, the nose is rounding, so it would be more shadowed on this side than this side. But we're just gonna taper that in. And then of course underneath will be in shadow, right? So you're gonna have this stripe under here that's a bit in shadow before it kind of has highlight kicking in. Okay, so we're gonna do the mane and then the ears. So mane, same thing, right? I'm still gonna put that full pin pressure as I bring my strokes down. Edges will still be in shadow. I can be a little messy here. Horses' manes, you know, are not nice and neat. But you still want to add some shadowing in areas where potentially the mane is going to be under other sections, right? Like it won't be as bright where it would be blocked, basically, where the sun is blocking it. Where the mane is blocking it, it's still going to cast a shadow. It's a solid enough thing that the shadow will still be there. Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to give his face and the fur around his face a little bit more of a rougher, looser look to it. So to do that, it's just going to be light pin pressure. Don't have a lot to do in the ears because it's mostly covered, right? But we're gonna still bring it down a bit. And under, so we have all this light wispy hair. This will help sort of indicate that this is a lighter amount of hair than what's down where it sinks into, where it sort of disappears. Now, hair like this with the mane, there may still be some lighter sort of wisps coming through, especially down in here, because you know you have individual strands that are potentially pushing forward, and anytime that's going to happen and they're not just strictly on the back side, they might be catching the light. So I'm just going to add a few of those in here. Not many, because it is on that back side. Just going to fix a gap by his eye, and then we'll start working on the eyes. Just fixing one little area that's a little too bright. I'm going to brighten up a little bit of this darker section through here. Contrast is a little too much. Now what I'm doing, I'm just taking that same color and I'm just adding more lines. So I'm still putting full pin pressure. I'm just sort of in the way of adding more lines, even though it was already bright and I was already using full pin pressure, it brightens it more, so that I can create another sort of layer of light and shadow. Creates a little bit more of an effect. I might even use a lighter color. It sort of pushes the highlight to more of an extreme than what it was before. And I'm only kind of doing it right through this section, so I'm leaving a deeper, right, I'm not coming all the way up into here. Leaving a deeper shadow. And I'm not coming to the left side of the face as I do it. And if I choose to lighten this color up a little bit, I'll kind of keep it to the same spot. I didn't think that there was enough differentiation in the highlights and the shadows in his face, but see, now you have some extra happening here. Even just that little bit, adding more lines, it changes that dynamic a little bit, which we pick up pretty significantly. And so even though you have like a little bit of highlight over here, it's not nearly what it is over here. I think I am going to go ahead and lighten it up and see what it does. It's in the same color vein, so it won't be, should be overwhelming or too much. That did a lot. How much that lightened up his face. Created a lot of variation. That's good. I'm going to add it a little bit to the ears where I think that would be catching some light. Now I'm going to do kind of the same thing with this color here, where I'm going to thicken up the lines. The hair's so long, there's a lot of big gaps. And I need to indicate the section of the mane that comes in front of the ears versus what kind of goes behind. Now we're going to do the eyes, which are going to be brown, but they will be hidden obviously a bit by the hair, so we're going to do them a little bit differently. For one, I've placed their layer below all of the hair here. Light source is coming from the right, but a lot of this will be hidden a bit by shadow. So I'm going to do a little bit of a highlight here. Have some highlight underneath. Having it go into shadow on this side, highlight, and then have it going into shadow on this side where the highlight typically would be. Bit too much. I'll have a catch underneath and then that'll be good enough. Over here, kind of do the same thing. We have that bit of light we're going to have. I'll have it catching underneath. I'll have a little bit on this side. It's not as much blocking it. Alright, and then the final thing we're going to do to the eyes is add the light flare, but we're going to be doing a lot to change how the light flare is going to look. So we're going to have just a little bit. We don't want that to be overwhelming. Pull that down. Fill with the foreground color. Move it on over. Do the same thing to change it. I'm going to take the select tool. First we're going to select by this hair, but we're going to go just a little bit past on the other side. Erase that out. And we're going to have some of the hair blocking it on this side. Just got to do squiggles. That really came out well. And then we're going to do the same over here. some of that hair blocking the top. Some hair come through at weird angles. It's just casting it down. Messy angles. Take out that top part. Alright, so that is how you draw a Shetland pony. I hope that was helpful. In the floating nether next to me, I have other videos of art tutorials I have done, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much. Take care.